What's up, my man? We are back and live.
We missed last week, so we've got a lot to talk about today.
So much to talk about, so little time. We got a special guest. I am super, super excited to talk to Darren. He's excited as well. But you know what? Let's just go right into it. Let's talk about it.
No updates, no how you doing, just straight into the world of NFTs and collectibles. That's it. That's how it works now.
2 weeks. We missed 2 weeks, and we apologize to our audience for missing it. We're going to make a promise we won't do it ever again. I was traveling. You were traveling. I missed you. Look at that beautiful face.
Well, we made up for it. We've got some big announcements today. That's going to be happening in the Goat Vault that we spoke about last time. And we'll get to that. So let's get into it.
Cool. What's first on the list? What are we talking about first?
I think we're talking about what's happened in the last week in the NFT world. All the action and all the activity that's happened across all these communities. We saw that Axie
what happened
Infinity,
in the last 24 hours? 24 hours. Forget about what happened last.
All right, fine. Last 24 hours, we had Gabby on the show last time talking about YGG and Axie and scholarship programs, and we're seeing that the Axie community is blowing up. We had Axies doing $22 million in transaction volumes in sales over a 24-hour period. That's a 30% jump. Over the past week, they've done $105 million. The scholarship program is booming. People are mining and working on their Axies. There's trades. There's everything going on, and it's a community that is exploding, and it is still early. So we're going to be paying a lot more attention to Axies moving forward and keeping you posted on what's happening there. What's also interesting is that we're seeing Meebits out of nowhere climbing up, 151% volume increase over the past week, $2.7 million traded. That's a big jump. And then the biggest surprise of all is Deadheads and Cool Cats entering into the market and just simply exploding.
That's right. And that's what we want to talk about. New drops, Cool Cats and Deadheads. What do you know about Cool Cats? Except that they're cool.
Cool Cats, what we know about them is that they're cute, happy avatar projects. A little bit of controversy over the art and whether people like it or not. There's differing views, but we've seen it go from being released at 0.6 and they dropped their mid price to 0.2 because it didn't really do well. At 0.6, no one was buying it. 0.06, no one was buying it. They dropped the mid price to 0.02 ETH because there's not enough interest. And Monday and Tuesday, it caught fire going from 0.05 to 0.7-ish floor, and it's just kept on going from there. We've got a friend who bought 118 of these on the cheap and flipped them and put them into some safer environments. And that's what we're seeing a lot of speculators and traders doing, buying a big bundle, flipping them, and moving on from projects. They're cute, they're kid-friendly. It's a different type of avatar project that some people might like. It brings in a different kind of crowds, kids, people not excited about Bored Apes, want something a little bit cuter and friendlier. So this could be why Cool Cats is taking on the market. But you got to be investing in things that you believe in and that you like. I'm not a fan. I haven't bought in. I don't know about you, Stan. What do you think?
I think the interesting part is that we see projects that change, right? They'll start out a floor, not enough interest, and then they'll drop the price, and then it creates interest, and then prices start to come up. We see that more and more now, right? The market doesn't automatically react right away, but when it does react, those prices continue to skyrocket. They take off and they go on, and some of them don't look back. Some of them obviously do drop back to reality, but I think that is interesting from the perspective of we know there are a lot of people that are day trading NFTs, and what does that do for the market? Or the creators are actually continuing to invest into the project, come out with new news, make it interesting. The community starts to build, and things begin to take off. I'm neutral on it. Let's see what happens. Too early to tell, but I know Deadheads is the other one that has a lot of buzz around it. I know everyone likes the design of it. They think the art is cool. I happen to think the art is pretty cool. Look at our little video screen right here if you're watching us on video. And that, I think, makes a difference, right? The animator who's behind this project is an award-winning animator. The reveal, I saw Gary Vee in the Discord group talking about how this is a cool project, and I think that sparked a lot of interest. And it's too early to tell, right? And I think it depends on, what's your position and what's your strategy. But you could take the strategy of we want to buy right away and see if it goes up, or do we want to wait and see what, new exciting news, how the project continues to develop. We did.
And what's interesting about Deadheads, I believe, is that they're going to be taking some of the characters and putting those into a animated movie series. And as you said, the core animator and producer of it is a 4-time Emmy Award-winning producer. So for the first time, you're going to see your NFT characters in a movie. And what does that do for the value of that NFT? If you happen to be one of the holders and that character is a core character in the show, what does it mean for your NFT? And I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of these types of introductions and collaborations and additional elements that are going to be brought into these NFTs. It's no longer good enough to just, release 10,000 collectibles of a certain design and with rare traits. You've got to start bringing in more into these communities, and for them to be interesting, you can't just do what, original CryptoPunk. Then we had the Bored Apes with the membership. Now you've got additional rights. Now you've got movies being bought on top of it. That's where the industry's going. The bar is being raised with every single one of these drops, which is exciting to see.
No, I agree. And I think they're setting the bar of what's to come, right? They're going to, as this continues to evolve, are they going to be the first ones to use them in animation? And is that going to bring the value if another successful project takes off and follows suit? Kind of how people say CryptoPunks are the OGs, are now these going to be the OGs in animated series? So this is all very interesting, and we'll see what the future holds.
Tell me about Punk Comics, another one that dropped this week.
Yeah, started by Beanie, which is a very big NFT influencer in the space. I think they're doing something that's completely different, right? They're taking a different approach and looking at it from a different point of view. I know that the floor was around 1 ETH earlier today. Then it went to 1.5 ETH. Now we're down a little bit. But same thing, people are starting to get behind the project. There's a lot of influencers who believe in the project. They have a good team behind them. I know that Beanie's a big collector, big comic book collector. I think that makes it interesting as well. I was talking to a friend of mine who said, Beanie might be one of the only collectors who actually has his own NFT project. And if he approaches it from a collector standpoint of view, what he could do for the project could be very, very interesting. Yeah, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on comic punks?
Well, one of the interesting things that is a mechanic in the comic punks is the ability to choose whether you want to stake your NFT for 24 months and you receive tokens created from the 16 CryptoPunks represented in the comic, or you have the ability to get rid of one of your punks for a percentage share of the vault. So it gives you this type of mechanic to give you some utility on what you're holding, which I think is interesting, and we'll see how that plays out. And again, we're seeing the base of what needs to happen in these projects and the level that they're thinking going into each one of them being elevated each and every time, being more interesting, more utility being brought, more access, more IP, more ownership, more of a story. And I think if anyone who can do it, Beanie being in the industry, having been a prominent collector, like you say, also a prominent comic collector, I think it's an interesting project to watch. We've seen some great price influence happening on it. So it's worth checking your on-chain metrics and data about it, and we can show you how to do that further on in the show. But definitely something that I would be looking at.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that I like the project, and I'm excited to see what comes out of it. We also had this Z $1 million drop, which was,
I heard there was a bit of a in that drop. What happened?
They sent out an email to everybody who has a Z stable saying, congratulations, you won a free horse. And then it turned out that they sent that email by mistake, or at least it wasn't clearly stated. Here's a copy of the email. Was just delivered to everybody by mistake. They're fumbling. I mean, they did give away $1 million worth of horses. I know that breeding right now is open and is a little bit of a mess. And you know, one side of it is this world is so new, and there is margin room for error, but the community is clapping back a little bit and is upset about what's happening with breeding, right? Because if you're able to breed your horses, you could make money. And right now, there's an issue with breeding, so you can't be making money. As a Z horse owner, I'm a little disappointed myself, but I'm trying to give them kind of the time to get their shit together, for lack of a better word.
And we've seen a few errors in the Z drops, in the communication, in the community, and how they're going about rectifying these mistakes, but they keep on happening. And I think people are willing to work with the Z community and the Z creators in order to be forgiving. But like you say, ultimately, people are investing top dollars in these assets. And want to put them to work and want to be part of it. So we got to see them raising their game in how these drops are happening, and can't carry on seeing these types of mistakes moving forward. The bar is being raised. That should be the theme of the show. The bar is being raised across all of these NFT projects. So they've got to be raising the bar together with everyone else, or at least keeping up with everyone else in these communities.
Yeah, no, I agree. Some other exciting news: Blackstone acquired Certified Collectibles. Jay-Z is one of the investors in that project. Certified Collectibles Group grades comic books, and you know, $500 million, not a tiny bit of money. And I also think it's interesting that Jay-Z is diving in deeper into the collectible space. He changed his avatar to a crypto punk, I believe, about a week or so ago.
Yeah.
So now we know he's in the NFT space. He's investing into, you know, collectibles company. And we're seeing similar names, right? We're seeing Michael Rubin, who's founder of Fanatics. We're seeing Daryl Morey, who's president of basketball operations for the Sixers. We're seeing more and more guys who kind of are continuing to invest into collectible space. And I think that shows us that, you know, it's not going anywhere, right? Another Goldin Auctions sold to Steve Cohen's group this past week. So that was another announcement that came out. I believe, you know, some people are down on the sports card market, but some of these things I think are going to give people confidence that these markets are not going to go anywhere. They're just kind of hitting a low point, but I personally believe they're going to come back. I'm sure Darren's going to have his opinions. I'm curious to talk to him about that. And also, Goldin Auctions also announced they partnered with Barstool Sports. I think that's also very interesting. Barstool Sports is going to do breaking now, which, you know, Barstool is kind of the ultimate, you know, the ultimate frat boy kind of mentality, right? They're all about sports, funny videos, and now they're, you know, good food, and now they're getting into the sports car world and doing breaks. So I'm curious to see what's going to come out of that as well. Yeah, and then we also had a big sale of all buying 51% of a Steph Curry card, which is the valuation's $5.9 million, which makes it this highest sports card ever sold. And there was some controversy in that as well, because
I'm going to interrupt you there. You're saying, you know, sports card market is down, but now we have a record selling card. How do those two things coexist?
Yeah, and I think that's, you know, this is a one of one. It's a logo man. It's Steph Curry, which is a modern player. This is the only card that's ever printed and has the NBA patch on it. It's one of a kind. There's going to be no duplicates of it. And this is what the market bears. People want to buy one of a kind items, rare, unique stuff. And Steph Curry, probably one of the greatest shooters of all time, probably one of the top 10 basketball players to play the game. You know, they believe in the market. And I believe it's a good buy because he's somebody that actually established himself, and he has won championships before. He has proven himself, to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, greatest shooter of all time. Is he Michael Jordan? No, but it is, when Michael Jordan was playing, those cards didn't exist where it was a 1-of-1, right? This is the only card that ever released. You had to open up packs of it. The probability of opening those packs was very, very slim. Pulling that card was very, very slim. And, whoever got that card obviously didn't want to sell the whole thing because they were only willing to sell 51% of it. And they wanted to hold on to the rest of it and reap the benefits. So I think it's another good signifier of where the card market is going. And, it's going to continue to break records.
So I know we're going to dive deep into the card market and the collectible markets with Darren. So I'm going to be very interested to hear his view on that sale and the other news that's happened in the industry from the past week. But before we dive into that, let's talk about the Goat Bowl, baby.
We got some goats in there.
No, Stanley, have we lost you? On the big reveal, we may have lost Stanley. So it looks like we lost Stanley. We'll hopefully have him back. I'm not a host, so I can actually bring him back. Let me see if this is, what can we do here? This is the joy of being live. We have some hiccups going on with the show, but I'm going to carry on. We have the Goat Vault that we're announcing today. What is it? We spoke about it in the last show. It is our way of including you in the community on all these NFT drops that we're getting access to, that we're seeing, that we're buying into, and want to include you in them. So we have committed $10,000. That's right. I said $10,000 that we'll be using to buy into different NFT projects and different collectible projects. This week, we got into the new project called Goats The Metaverse. It's a new collectibles project that we're very excited about. We managed to score up 2 goats to bring into the Goat Vault that were on the screen over here. One of them has a rare tiger coat, of which there's only 180 out of 10,000. Those 2 are going into the vault and will be locked and secured in the vault until we get to 5,000 subscribers. At 5,000 subscribers, we'll be opening up the vault, and every single week, we're going to be adding new NFTs, new collectibles to the vault for you to be able to win. By then, hopefully, who knows what that vault will be worth? Will it be worth $50,000, $100,000, $1 million? It depends on the success of the communities, of the collections, and of the NFTs that we acquire. So let's go into these goats. Why did we go into the Goat project? Well, we love the creator behind it. We love the audience and the team that have put it. We actually also like the artwork. And what they've done is quite interesting. They've acquired a plot of land in Sandbox, what they call the Maison de Goat, where you will be able to hang out in the Goat Vault along with all the other goat holders, as well as 4 lucky gold holders will get their own estate that they can call home. So that's quite interesting. That's new, what they brought into this community. And it's sold out within 30 minutes. The full 10,000 sold out. And in addition to that, you can forge 2 goats. If you have 2 goats, you can forge them together to create an attribute of a new goat that you want within your character. That's something new that we're seeing, and that'll bring down the total supply from 10,000 to a smaller number And we think that mechanic will work quite well. So we're excited that we've kicked off the Goat Vault with nothing else but goats in the vault. And we'll be keeping track of that project, how it's performing, and every week looking to add new NFT projects to the Goat Vault until we reach that 5,000 subscriber number. And then you stand the chance of winning the contents of the vault. Let's see where Stan is, if we've managed to get him back. No, he's still not with us. So I'm going to talk about the next portion that we're putting into the vault. So this is a show about bridging the worlds of collectibles and NFTs into the metaverse. We have a 2020 Panini Prism first of the line hobby football box valued at about $2,000 that we're putting into the vault, into the Goat Vault. And again, we'll be revealing the contents of that box, of that pack, and announcing the eligible winners when we reach 5,000 subscribers. So what you got to do, subscribe to the show, tweet about the show, bring in our community and our audience and get us to that 5,000 subscriber number. And then the Goat Vault will open up and you will be able to stand a chance to win in the Goat Vault. Let us see if Stanley is coming on. And if not, we're going to switch over to Darren and switch into his interviews or see if we have any questions from our community. Give me a moment. All right, I'm not sure what's happening with Stanley, so we're going to go on with the show. The show must go on, and bring on Darren Rovell and kick off that section. Darren, let's get you on here. You need to unmute.
That's me. What's going on?
Hey, Darren, how are you, man?
How are you? How did our guy Stan freeze out?
I'm not sure what's happened to him. I'm sure he will be back any second now. His Streamline link died, but this is what happens in the world of live shows, of which you're no stranger to. So we will carry on. I believe you are the one who got Stan one of his Zed horses. Tell me about that. Are you no longer a believer in Zed?
So I was in Zed. I want to say end of March, before their first. They had a drop, and then the big drop was after that. I had bought 13 horses, built a stable. I love the product. It was the only NFTs I owned. I do believe in gamified NFTs. I do believe in NFTs with dividends, so paying you back while you still own it. The idea that you could race horses, win money, breed horses, win money. I had a strategy of 80% females because I thought the horses had the value over the stud fees. I just loved the product. After I was in it for about a month and a half, I was at a lacrosse practice with a bunch of dads, and we were talking, and I had soured a little bit on crypto. And the father said to me, "Are you investing in horses, or because they're traded in ETH, are you investing in crypto? In other words, are the numbers going to stay the same in ETH and the value will go up depending on ETH?" And I thought to myself, that's a good point. And as I was souring on crypto, I realized that I couldn't, at least at this point, I still love it. I still keep track of it. At least at this point, since I had taken the position that I was going to be completely out of crypto, I could no longer stay in Zed. So that's what drove my decision. I sold my horses all on May 11th and 12th, and the 12th was luckily the ETH high, and a 48.
Amazing timing.
And couldn't tell you I nailed it. Meant to nail it, but that was it. So it's not, if there's, I really believe in gamified NFTs. I believe in Zed. I think its biggest challenges are, is it too complicated? And then obviously crypto. I'm completely out of crypto. I was in and out of crypto in 41 days. So I'm completely out of crypto too.
What drove that in such a short time period, from a believer to out of it to selling your stable, everything?
I got in because I needed to see what this was all about. And then at some point, after a couple Elon Musk tweets and being down 17,000 in a night, I'm a gambler, man. I mean, I work for a gambling network. I couldn't take it, because even in gambling, I feel like I make decisions where I'm in control, and I was not in control at all of crypto. And I felt like, one of my rules in investing is, if it feels like it's too obvious, it is, and get out. I can make multiples on collectibles all day long in terms of trying to find the next big thing, and I've done really well there. So my thought was, I can't be beholden to anyone else, and I can't be dealing with the whims of Elon Musk. I have other ways to make money, and I'm going to go do that. So as of May 25th or so, I haven't been in crypto either.
Interesting that you had your principal, you stuck with it, and immediately got out of it, whereas a lot of other people have their principal, price movement maybe doesn't go the way they want it to go, end up becoming a hodler, hold on to an asset, carry on going down that road.
Yeah, let's talk about that a bit. I'm in gambling. Buying the dip is the worst idea in gambling. If you are down, if you've lost, hey, Stanley's here.
Stan the man is back.
My internet went out. Technical difficulties.
All right. Well, we were just talking about hodling, and as a gambling, as a gambling guy, that is the stupidest thing ever. Okay, when the best gamblers are not the ones that win the most; they're the ones that know when to stop losing. And so the buying of the dip, and I'm willing to lose X. I don't know about my friends say, hey, put it in. I'm willing to lose. That's a casino attitude. You'll always lose that. I'm not willing to lose anything, actually. I'm willing to lose zero. And so I think my experience in gambling probably drove what happened to me in crypto.
So we dive straight into it. Maybe you can just give us a little bit of background to yourself. I know you're well known and loved by many.
And hated by many.
I think you like that. I think you like to be both loved and hated, huh?
I am a little bit of a heel. I realize that you're either someone or no one in this world, and if being someone requires people to passionately hate you, I am all for it. So that's just pretty simple. Cover the business of sports at ESPN for 6 years, then CNBC for 6 years. Went from being the nerd at the sports network to the cool guy at the business network. Kicked ESPN's butt so much that I went back for another 6 years, and then 8 months before the end of my contract in November 2018, I'm sitting here in New Jersey and watching our state become Vegas East, and just realized how many times you have a chance to look at something that's going to be big before your eyes, and you get to see it in maturity before everyone else. I thought that was a gift, and I went to the Action Network, kind of a quant company, media company, to make bettors better, and it's been great. We got acquired a month ago for $240 million by Better Collective, Danish company, and still working for them, and still, spending a lot of my time. I'd say about 35% of my money is in collectibles as an alt asset, and every day spending an hour or two figuring out what my next moves are.
35% is a big number and a big percentage of your net worth in collectibles. What got you into it? And you're out of the crypto market, saying that's too speculative, too crazy. Here you have 35% of your net worth in the alt market of collectibles. Tell us about that. What got you into that world, and why you're such a big believer in that market?
unlike crypto, I have almost illegal advantage in memorabilia. I am a crazy researcher, and I take advantage of the arbitrage of the situation. There are auction houses that don't know what they're doing because they don't know what they're actually auctioning. They don't know how important it is. The person who actually gives it doesn't know how important it is. There are auction houses where they just got the luck of the draw because the person lived close and they're old, and they just said they looked up an auction house and it's the wrong auction house. Shouldn't be in there. They don't have the right database. I originally bought the rudder that Buzz Aldrin steered Apollo 11 to the moon in, and it was in a Hollywood costume auction with no database for anyone in space, and I won it on the first bid. So I research more. I am a nostalgician. I understand as a child of the 80s. I understand nostalgia. I understand what gets the hairs on the back of people's necks standing up. And I just feel like versus Elon Musk saying something, I'm in a lot more control. And so it really does make sense for me.
So what do you think is what does the future of collectibles look like? I mean, I think we obviously saw a huge spike, talking about sports cards and probably other collectibles as well during COVID. But I the conversation I was having with a lot of people was like, look, we all collected sports cards, comic books as kids, right? And now we're coming to a point where people have a little bit more money and they could connect to those types of things, and they believe in it, right?
So I think Stanley, I think where we went sideways is people got obsessed with the money, and the money drives me too, but it drove people to a place where they ultimately, it wasn't about smiling, it wasn't about the holy crap, that's awesome, right? It was about, are 16,000 Zion Williamson PSA 10s enough? Like, I think 50 to 60% of the market got into it to make a little bit more cash, and that just doesn't work out. It means that, if you don't know who's holding, like I always said, I would never buy a Luka Doncic because the people who are holding that are 22 to 28 years old, most of them, and they have a lower net worth, which means they're going to sell first, which means the market's going to tank there. Like, I think there were a lot of things that went wrong. People were into investing and selling too much, one. Two, people were they were not collecting, same light. They were not collecting what they loved. And three, they somehow simplified the marketplace. No, collecting basketball cards of active players is not like fantasy basketball. If your player does well, the card doesn't go up. That's not how it works. When LeBron wins the championship was already baked in. So, like, people simplified it down to one thing and say, oh, players should invest in themselves, buy cards, and there was never more than anecdotal information or 24-hour pops. And I think that was disingenuous. So people not liking it, people doing it for money, and people having it all wrong about how it functioned. I think that was one of the leading parts of the downturn.
And Darren, what are your views on the kind of modern take of sports card collecting and the likes of NBA Top Shot and moments being turned into NFTs? Are you a believer in that as a future of the collectibles in this space, or it's a flash in the pan, it's going to disappear?
I don't think Top Shot has utility. I mean, when you compare Zed Run and the complexity of Zed Run to Top Shot, it's almost a joke. Anyone who invested in Top Shot made up what the utility was going to be. Oh, if you get this and then you're in the EA game, you're going to type a code and then you'll be able to take the shot, and only 49 people will be able to take the shot. Like, they were just making up stuff that just wasn't true. In Zed, I mean, there's just such a complexity of, oh, it's half of the genome and half of luck, and like there's so many things you have to figure out. And is your horse a fast runner, or over what distance, and this kind of thing. I mean, it's to me, I think way too many people are getting into NFTs who have never evaluated art before. Just because it's digital doesn't mean you're a good evaluator of art. Okay, like just because it's digital and it's easier to buy than going to a gallery doesn't mean you should buy it. So I think the gamified NFTs are where I'm going. I like Decentraland. I like metaverses. Not really there on buying land yet, but seeing my 7-year-old twin boys play my 9-year-old girl, I do believe that one day I will have something that I will sell to them while they're playing a game, or I will have some sort of shop or something. That's not too hard to believe.
So kind of to piggyback off that, I mean, we met through Zed, right? Like, I mean, we have some mutual friends in common, but you were selling a Z1, or your buddy was selling a Z1, and I reached out to you and actually bought one. And, you know, to me, here's the horse. Here it is.
There it is. Yeah.
I mean, one part, I think it's crazy that, you know, we could do business transactions with people over Instagram for large amounts of money. That's a whole other.
But I trusted you. I originally bought some horses from when I started out from a construction worker in Denver that I had no idea, and I sent him $34,000, and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? You know, like at least we had some like connections and like, yeah, Stan's good, yeah, but like I had like, no, this guy's. I had nothing when I sent $34,000 to him. It's crazy. Yeah. Crazy.
No, it is crazy, and I buy cards all the time off guys of Instagram, and I mean, I think it's a whole crazy world. But you know, we talk about Zed a lot on the show, the utility aspect of it, and you're saying, hey, you know, NBA Top Shot doesn't have the utility, but what's to say, you know, 3 years from now or 3 days from now, they come out with some sort of utility that all of a sudden makes it interesting, right?
But you can't. For me, I don't. As someone who I don't invest in tech company. I invest a lot, but I don't invest in tech companies because I don't know what someone's doing in their basement. But I invest in things that are in the supermarket because I can see it before me. I wouldn't heavily invest in Top Shot until I knew what the utility was. Do I lose out by waiting? Yeah, but I'm not. I know who I am. I'm not a guy who jumps ahead of tech and wins. I'm not. And so, nor do I trust that there's utility there.
Right. I guess I want to rephrase my question in a way, like what I find interesting about NFTs, and not necessarily NBA Top Shots, because I'm not a believer in that project, but the fact that, you know, some of the avatar projects and some of these new projects, that they do add utility components to it as the project continues to evolve, right? And
I mean, I love the idea. Don't get me wrong. I love the idea of an NFT appearing in a movie, right? Like what you just said, the project this week. And what is that? The Deadheads?
Yeah, Deadheads.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's a great idea. And I'm going to go to the movie to see if my guy is in it. And that's an exciting search and stuff like that. I just, then you have to kind of dream up what the utility is. I mean, Zed's, to get back to Zed, I think Zed's toughest obstacle is it too complex? Is it, you know, at what hour of being in Zed does someone feel like they've mastered it? And if it's more than like 150 hours, is that too much? Because you feel like I haven't gotten to the point of figuring it out. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. I think it's a very valid point, because I think that there's limitless amounts of strategies that you could take, right? And you could kind of continue,
which is great. My original strategy was, okay, I'm going to do unraced, unbred, and then I'm going to sell that stable, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to race them all and have fun. You know, so, and I never wound up doing it because I don't know if you missed it, but I just felt like Zed was too much a play on ETH, and I don't believe in crypto. And so I felt like I was like, as of now, I feel like I can't get back into something that is just tradable in ETH.
So where are you spending your time in the collectibles world? I mean, I see a great shoe collection behind you. What do you find interesting in the collectibles world, where you're spending your time, and then how do you think about it?
So I took all the money that I made from cards, because I sold my cards out in February, again based on the rule that it just seemed too obvious, and I felt like if you look back on it, I sold most of them on February 13th. I think the highs were about February 18th. So I did pretty well. and then I took that money and put it into tickets. As people are going crazy digital, what is something that is very physical, that is very naturally rare, not fake scarce, naturally scarce? And I just fell in love with tickets. Tickets are going away. They're going digital. We're not going to have those again. There you see a look of some of them. I'll show you some others. So like on the left is that's a full ticket of George Brett's Pine Tar game. I have the next one is Game 6 of the '86 World Series, signed by both Mookie Wilson and Bill Buckner. On the top right is a 1997 Masters badge, one of 3 graded and signed by Tiger Woods. It's the only one that is signed by Tiger in a signature that he had between 96 and 2000. So that's a contemporary signature of the past. And then the last one is the actual ticket to the Rudy game, signed by Rudy. So and when I show these, as I'm collecting them, I test it on people. I look at them and say, and when I'm showing them some of these pieces, it's incredible. It's so intuitive. And the populations are so small. On the Rudy ticket, it's one of 2 signed ones. There's only 8 that have been out there. I just recently finished basically a half-year search for the Zion Nike shoe blown ticket. Like, you'd think there were 9,000 people in Cameron. It was only 2 years ago. But when you think about PSA only decided to slab tickets 2 years ago, that's what changed it. So what changed? It people had tickets tacked to their bulletin boards and in their scrapbooks. And then once PSA said, we're going to grade these, it essentially became a card. And then you have pop reports and everything else. And, so for me, I could then use my research background to get more and more crazy things, even outside of sports, that would make people go nuts. And none of these things some of these things didn't have any value at all. So who is going to buy the April 6th, April 6th, 1906 train ticket to in San Francisco when the earthquake hit? This is the day of the ticket. This day of the ticket is when the big San Francisco earthquake hit and basically destroyed the entire city. And then PSA slabs it, once and I give them documentation, ferry train ticket, day of the San Francisco earthquake. The guy knew what he had, right? He knew this was big, but I was the only buyer.
So let's talk about that. You were the only buyer. Does that,
it's not a liquid. The market is not very liquid. The market is liquid enough. There's, because of the population of these, there's 1 or 2 of these. This will come up, and by the way, I'm not a pumper and a dumper, but because I don't really dump, but I do pump up. Like, I'm so excited about this marketplace, and I think I've been able to grow the market. I think there's roughly 5,000 people right now who are collecting tickets versus 20 million collecting cards. And because of the populations, that relationship I'm not uncomfortable with. I've spent a long time in illiquid markets, but I feel like it's actually less risky to me because I can talk my way into that market, and it just makes a whole lot more sense to me.
Now, Darren, earlier you were saying that you're not a big fan of Top Shot versus Zed because of the utility that Zed has versus a Top Shot. Now, the tickets have no more utility whatsoever. They're only a collectible, but you're doubling down on this particular collectible set. So how do you think about that? There's no utility, but you're extremely excited about this, not excited in the digital form when there's no utility. Why that disconnect?
So there actually is utility. The utility is the story that comes with it. So, so if there was no, so hold on, let me just get a good, okay.
What are we looking at? Chicago Bulls versus Philadelphia.
So this is Michael Jordan's first game against Dr. J. Okay.
Wow.
But it is one of 2 tickets that have been graded by PSA, and it is, here's the secret. It's his first game in Air Jordans. So that's the utility of it, right? The utility is, now I'm going to tell you the story of his first game in Air Jordans. And as a storyteller, I now have the gift of owning a piece of this story that I'm now going to impart to you.
So I love this. I love the concept. I love the story aspect. We talk about story all the time. I'm a producer. I'm a storyteller.
That's your job. Right, exactly. Right.
But here's my question to you. And obviously,
challenge me, Stanley. Challenge me.
The Jordan first ticket, there's not that many of them out there, right? But the Zion ticket, right, which it took you so hard, long time to find.
There'll be no more than 20.
And what's the mindset behind that? You don't think
people didn't? So the reason I know is because I spoke to a ticket broker who has 75 tickets in Cameron. He has the most of anyone. I said, "You have the Zion ticket?" He goes, "Of course I do. I have tons of them." He had one. The guy who is the biggest broker in Alabama asked him if he had the 2013 Johnny Manziel Alabama Texas A&M game. Tons of them. I gotta have it. Didn't have it. People just didn't save. People haven't saved tickets because there was nowhere to save them. Even the guys who were smart enough and were ahead of the market at the end of the game, who said, "Hey, $10 for your ticket, $10 for your ticket." Even those guys, they never finished. They threw those tickets out that they collected long ago, and they were ahead of the market. And so when you look at the population of these things, programs superseded tickets. You'd save the program before you save the ticket. And again,
I remember I used to save tickets as a kid going to games.
I guess some did, but you just, the ticket didn't have a receptacle. You didn't put it in a card sheet. And so that's what became, that's what became, even something like this, so this is the 1996 NBA draft, arguably with 84, the greatest draft ever. This is the highest graded ticket. It's a 7 of 10. Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Ray Allen, Stephon Marbury, Steve Nash. These things weren't saved. And then, you get the nostalgia too. On the back, you get Sports Authority. And you get all these crazy things that you remember, models or other things. It's just a piece of nostalgia. You can hold it like a card.
And how do you think about the pricing of that, and what's a good price?
Very difficult. I look at the populations. More and more people know what they're doing. By virtue of me talking, I've killed myself. I've created a lot of people that are into it. So it's hard. It's hard. How bad do you want it? How beautiful? A lot of it is the piece of art of it all. If a ticket is garbage and does not look good, I sometimes don't want it. Like this is a beautiful piece of art. This raffle type ticket to Comiskey Park in 1979. Of course, We love it as well because it is the famous Disco Demolition Night, the promotion that went wrong. But you know, sometimes these tickets are just so beautiful. I mean, who could hate on this ticket? It's am I frozen now? Did I freeze?
Yeah,
You did, but we can still hear you. Now you're back.
Okay. So this is the ticket at Madison Square Garden when Marilyn Monroe sang "Happy Birthday, Mr. President."
Wow.
I mean, it's a humongous ticket. It's just so beautiful. And again, it just brings you back. There's moments. There's things that are so old. I'm going to show you my stunner. So the National in Chicago, I will be displaying my wares. You guys going to go? Are you going to go, Stan?
I'll be there.
I'll be in booth 317, and I will have a sign that says "Nothing is for sale." Now, whether that comes to fruition will depend on come Sunday, whether the people who have loads of dollars in their pocket, whether they want to leave the casino with some money, because I will be an option if you throw out a crazy number. So I needed an unbelievable Chicago piece to just stop people. And so this is it. Give you a little preview. Can you see that good?
The Ferris wheel.
So this is the first wheel that was ever designed by George Ferris in 1893 at the Chicago World's Fair. This is a ticket to ride it. I mean, again, like right? I mean, like, okay,
No,
like, show me your Luka
free.
Doncic. Show me your Luka. Oh, you know?
No, look, the stories that you're telling, they're amazing, right? They're iconic. And storytelling, nostalgia, all of this hits a note. And I guess the question is, right, you're saying right now there's 5,000 people in the market, and you're almost admitting to creating that market, right? And obviously they're going to tell people, and that market is going to continue to grow organically. But one question is, what does that market look like in, a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Or is the conversation doesn't really matter, right? Because
I think with tickets going away, there will be a new bar that tickets are collectible tickets from the past are an asset class. As video games are emerging, at Goldin Auctions announced, you missed this piece, that they're going to start taking graded VHS tapes. No worries, I have them all sealed, first editions. I'm ready to go. Video games, sealed music, sealed VHS tickets. I think the projection that we are in a new asset class of memorabilia was accurate. I think where people got it wrong is they pushed it all into cards. It's not. The pie is going to grow, but it's also going to grow in sectors.
all right, 5 years from now, what does that pie look like percentage wise?
I think it's 50% cards. I think it's probably 20% magazines, comics, like paper stuff. I think, God, I'm at 30% more. I think video games will take a small piece. Video games and VHSs might take a 10% piece. I think tickets take a 10% piece. I think cards are still the over 55%. It's just the easiest to trade, the easiest to figure out, the most liquid. But I do think there are a whole bunch of other markets that are out there. Shoes.
Well, we know sneakers are multi.
Yeah, but we haven't had sneakers on a 1 to 10 ranking, and we haven't encased sneakers well. We haven't graded sneakers well. We have said they're authentic, but we have not graded them. We have not wrapped them in a seal, that kind of thing.
And I'm sure
is that what you think unlocks the market when PSA or another body comes, says we're going to grade this, we're going to seal it, we're going to bring in some standards of how to collect these items and think about them?
Yeah, I mean the grading.
Is that something you look for? in the
the
market?
grading is what comes along with it. So the day that video games and CGC announced that they're going to grade video games now, so I own the highest graded Tetris in the world, Game Boy, and the highest graded NBA Jam. So, I did a lot of work before getting into it. I mean, come on, this is a gorgeous display. I mean, this is a gorgeous, just amazing display. It's about the display. It's about the grade. I never knew before this that the Tetris motto was "From Russia with Love." Like, really? Did not know that. But I froze again. Hopefully you can still hear me. But you have the seal, you have the whole score on it, the box, the seal, whatever. And what's interesting about this game, again, love a story. When you got your original Game Boy, it came with Tetris. So they made very few of these, but this was the fail-safe if you lost your Tetris. So they did not make these. It was not easy to find these. So I have so I've done that. I think the grading and the casing is going to change a lot of things. It makes it almost a card. And looking at the VHS grading, I will tell you, it is buyer beware on these things. You have to come up with the system that is the best, and it's so hard. This is what I've learned about VHS. You need first printing. If the movie was in '84, that better say copyright '84 on the back. If you have a VHS and you have the seal better have the production house. See the MCA on it?
Yep.
Better have the production house. It better have a production sticker on it. The seal has to look like it's authentic and not something. Fake sealing is going to be the biggest cases of fraud in the next 5 years. Apple iPhone 1s, fake seals. The guys who can have a database of historical seals will win. So
I'm going to stop you for 1 second. Collectibles. You didn't mention NFTs, right? So I'm going to assume you don't quantify them as collectibles yet.
I did not qualify it at that. I do think NFTs are for real. I think the ones that will survive are the ones that are tied. I do think things being tied to something physical. Again, I think that 0.01% of NFTs are going to make it.
Is it not about the ones that tell, like you've just shown us with the tickets and the Tetris game? It's really about the iconic cultural moment and story that is representing, and
absolutely. That's there's nothing beautiful about CryptoPunks, but it being defined as the first, and
OG.
Right, correct. That's what makes that. The Fuocious and the sneaker, love that. Meaning more, something meaning more. I also feel like as long as OpenSea is dominating, and I know Nifty Gateway is there, as long as the crypto and have to set up your MetaMask dominates, the NFT goes the way of the crypto market.
But what about using the same example you used, right? I mean, there's a nostalgia to, the first game, the Tetris. I mean, look, you showed me that Tetris. In my mind, was like, I remember playing Tetris.
Of course,
the game.
Your thumbs start hurting.
Correct. But now here's the question, though. Let's talk about Gen Z. Let's talk about somebody that's sitting in the Discord group right now that might be 13, 15, 17, 18, 22, and they're looking at that CryptoPunk or other NFT 10, 15, 20, 30 years later and saying, oh my God, do you guys remember when that came out?
This is the point when my journalism training says, I don't know. Give me a break. We're 6 months into this. I can't get 20 years down the road.
Fair enough.
Right? I mean, I do think it is a part. I love the smart contract part of it. I love the blockchain, the chain of ownership, the idea that you could have physical assets tied to it.
The royalty.
But I don't know the royalty as well. But I feel like I know as much about NFTs as someone can without owning an NFT at this moment. And I'm going to continue to monitor it, just like I'll monitor crypto, and doesn't mean I'm out forever.
I like that you're open to when the situation suits your strengths and your know-how, you potentially go back into it or you'll go out of it. It's not a black and white situation.
I mean, I don't love Gary, saying, this is he likes to be the futurist, and I think a good investor is willing to change their mind every single day.
So what are your thoughts? I mean, there's a lot of, good, bad, and ugly about the conversation of Gary. He's pumping markets,
I like Gary as a person. I don't understand what he does with having calls with friends and getting all his friends involved. In that way, he becomes like your aunt at the Thanksgiving dinner who just became an Herbalife person, and all she can talk about is the Herbalife. How annoying that is. And then, I don't want to tell my friends to invest in anything because I care about the friendships, and it's not going to be transactional. And, I can't imagine some of the things, there's been ups and downs, but I don't ever say I'm all in anything, right? Like if I'm at the National and I get the sense that this ticket thing isn't flying, I'll start to move some of them. Right? That I feel like that's my talent as a gambler. I'm a live gambler. I do 70% of my stuff live. Like if I feel that people aren't saying whoa, and no one's asking me what this price is, even though nothing's for sale, then I might be in trouble.
I love the fact that you're conservative on investing in some parts, but you're a gambler hard on other parts.
Oh yeah, I dive hundreds of thousands of dollars into tickets deep. All right, I'm gambling that hard, but right, I had $100,000 stable, and I got out in 41 days. So it's like, I mean, this is how I've always done it. And I have lists and I have things, and I'm gambling all day while writing about gambling. The funny thing is, and I got to run in a sec because I got to get to game 2. But if you were to tell me that sports betting was the calmest thing going in 2000, would be the calmest thing going in 2020, I would be like, that's so crazy. But you have, without human interaction, you have this need for dopamine, and all these people are doing crazy stuff. Crypto, down 16,000 in one night. Wake up in the morning, I'm like, holy crap, I'm down $16,000. And this isn't, I'm not a hodler. Like, I just got into this damn thing. Like, no, it's not okay, even if it's on paper, to be down $16,000. No, I'm not losing anything. So it's been crazy, and people have really gotten into this world. And I love using collectibles for alt assets, and I'm always going to move it around, and it's really fun. It's really fun. And for someone who loves to tell stories, and I love to be the guy, ever since I was a young kid, I love to be the guy that showed someone something they hadn't seen. I remember in the 5th grade, we were all collecting stickers, and all the kids would be like, did you see Darren's sticker book? And this is a little serial killer-ish, but I didn't turn out to be a serial killer. My sticker book, I only collected fuzzy armadillos. So I'd be like, how do you like my sticker book? And I'd go, flip the pages, and there'd be like 750 fuzzy armadillos.
You must have got a lot of girls in 5th grade.
Didn't matter. I was the guy who was different.
The next NFT collectible by Darren Rovell is fuzzy armadillos coming to the markets.
I want it. I'm going to ask you one last question before we let you go, and we really appreciate your time. And once again, I apologize for my technical difficulties. So you heard we have a goat vault. We're giving away. We're putting stuff in our vault. We're giving away to subscribers. So if you were if you were to advise us and to say, hey, we want to put something in the Goat vault, let's say a ticket or something that's outside.
Well, you have $10,000, right?
We have $10,000. What are we buying? What are we buying and putting in the Goat vault?
I mean, I'd like a for $2,000 or $3,000, you can get a ticket to an amazing event. You can, for $1,500, you guys could get. I'm not going to sell this to you, but you can get a 1986
National.
What'd you say?
Unless we see you in the National.
Yeah, you can get a 1986 Jack Nicklaus signed Masters badge, or you can go crazier and get, Pele's first World Cup title when he scored two in the final. I'll think about it. I'd love to put in a ticket contribution for you guys. As far as like just make sure there's a ticket in there, just so that when the vault happens, I could tell you, that I said so. But you know what? But here's the thing: if I don't think it's going the right way, I'll call you and say, you know what, I'm out. Like, that's the thing with me. Like, everyone knows what my intentions are. I always tell you where I'm at, what I'm doing. If I'm not, and I'm also not advising people to get into tickets. If you like it and you think it's cool, I think it's cool. I hope you think it's cool. If you don't, I'm confident in the market, but I'm not telling you get into tickets. I'm not calling my friends and saying get in. I'm not hosting texting groups saying get into tickets. We're not all doing this together. We're not all dumping this together. It's me. I've been offered to run memorabilia funds, and so far I've said no because I want to do what I want to do, and I don't want to be beholden to anyone's pressure.
I like it. And I like what you said in the beginning, and I'm going to end off on your line. I'm probably going to get it wrong, so maybe you're going to have to say it again, but if it looks too easy and if
it looks too obvious,
get out. And that's been your guiding principle. And I think that applies in all of these markets. And often it looks too obvious. And I, for one, don't get out. So I think it's great.
We're in for the long haul.
We're in more. Let's go.
Darren, we really appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
We'll see you at the National. Yep. And hope we could check in with you time to time, see what's going on in your world. Maybe next month you'll be doing completely something different. You never know with Darren, but for now.
By the way, Stan, I love how you looked at the Shaq picture and like, you're small. I'm like, I'm 6 feet.
There's a joke. I get that he's 7'2".
All right. Good guys.
Let's hope we get a ticket in the vault. Darren, thanks so much for your time. Right. Appreciate it. Ciao.
What a show. My internet goes out. The router doesn't plug back in. I don't have any words. I apologize. Everyone is texting me. I had to drive from my office, which is 7 minutes from my house, run into my house. I'm here.
Well, that's dedication. And now this is what a live show looks like. Things go wrong and the show must go on. We launched the vault, though. I'm excited about it. Maybe we'll bring in some tickets into it. Never thought about that. So we'll look forward to showing you what's more in the vault every single week and covering the world of NFTs and collectibles. Remember, the only way to win is to subscribe. Tweet about it, get more people onto the show, and then we will be opening up the vote.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you guys soon.
Ciao.